What would you do if a bleeding stranger got into your car and begged you to drive? But what if saving his life meant entering a world of violence and power you never knew existed? Maya Thompson checked her phone for the 100th time that night, calculating how many more rides she needed to make her weekly goal. $350. That was what she needed to cover her share of her mother's medication this month. The cancer treatments were expensive, even with insurance, and Maya had taken on every extra shift she could manage, driving for Uber late into the night when surges made the money actually worth the exhaustion. It was 1:15 in the morning on a Tuesday in November, and Manhattan was finally quieting down. Maya sat in her 10-year-old Toyota Camry at a red light in Little Italy, debating whether to call it a night or push for 1 or 2 more rides. Her eyes were gritty with fatigue. Her lower back ached from sitting for 9 hours straight, and she was pretty sure she had drunk enough coffee to fuel a small rocket. Her phone pinged with a ride request. Pick up in 2 minutes, destination Mount Sinai Hospital. Distance, 4.3 miles. Estimated fare, $28. Maya accepted before she could overthink it. 1 more ride, then home, then sleep, then back up at 7 to work her day job at the library before another night of driving. This was her life now. Work, drive, sleep barely enough, worry about her mother, repeat. But at least the routine kept her moving forward, kept her from dwelling on how tired she was or how lonely or how much she missed having time for anything that was not work or medical bills. The pickup location was a side street behind a restaurant that looked like it had closed hours ago. Maya pulled up to the curb, her headlights illuminating a figure slumped against a brick wall. She frowned, reaching for her phone to cancel the ride. This did not look right. Then the figure moved, pushing himself upright with obvious effort, and Maya saw his face in the streetlight. Dark hair, olive skin, a face that would have been handsome if it was not twisted in pain, and blood. So much blood spreading across the front of his white shirt, dripping from his left side where he was pressing his hand against what looked like a serious wound. Maya's training from the CPR class she had taken at the library kicked in before her common sense could override it. She threw the car into park and jumped out, running around to help the injured man. "Sir, are you okay?" she asked, immediately realizing how stupid the question was. He was clearly not okay. "We need to call an ambulance." "No ambulance," the man said, his voice rough with pain but carrying unmistakable authority. His accent was Italian, his dark eyes intense despite the obvious agony he was in. "I called the Uber." "You are Maya?" "I am, but you need emergency services. You are bleeding badly. No police, no ambulance," the man repeated. "Just drive. Mount Sinai Hospital. I have people who will meet me there. Please." Something in his voice, the desperate edge beneath the command, made Maya hesitate. This was absolutely against every safety protocol for rideshare driving. She should refuse, should call 911 regardless of what he said, should protect herself from whatever situation this man had been involved in. But Maya looked at the blood, at the way he was struggling to stay upright, at the possibility that he might die right here on this street if she did not help. And despite all her logical objections, despite the danger signals screaming in her brain, she found herself making a choice. "Get in," she said. "Back seat. We need to put pressure on that wound." The man nodded, relief flashing across his face before he gritted his teeth and pushed away from the wall. Maya helped him to the car, supporting as much of his weight as she could manage. He was tall, muscular despite the obvious injury, and moved with a controlled grace that suggested he was used to physical challenges. Once he was in the back seat, Maya grabbed the emergency first aid kit she kept in her trunk, pulled out gauze pads and medical tape. "Pressure on the wound," she said, handing him the supplies. "Keep pressing hard, and do not bleed to death in my car. I just had it detailed." The man actually laughed, a short, harsh sound that turned into a groan of pain. "I will try not to ruin your upholstery," he managed. Maya got back in the driver's seat and pulled into traffic, heading toward Mount Sinai as fast as she dared without attracting police attention. Her hands were shaking on the steering wheel, adrenaline flooding her system, her mind racing with what she had just agreed to do. "What happened to you?" she asked, glancing in the rearview mirror at her passenger. He was pressing gauze against his side, his face pale but his jaw set with determination. "Business disagreement," he said. "Some people express their objections with bullets." "That is a hell of a business disagreement," Maya said. "What do you do that people shoot at you?" "I run several enterprises in the city," the man said carefully. "Some people want to take over those enterprises. Tonight they made their move. They failed. You got shot. That seems like they partially succeeded." "I am alive," the man said. "That means they failed, and it means they will regret trying." There was something in his voice, a cold certainty that made Maya's skin prickle. This was not just a businessman who had been mugged. This was someone dangerous, Someone who operated in a world where getting shot was an occupational hazard. "Who are you?" Maya asked quietly. The man met her eyes in the rearview mirror. His gaze was intense, assessing, deciding something. "My name is Dante Caruso," he said. "And I run the Caruso organization in New York. Do you understand what that means?" Maya's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Yes, she understood. She might work 2 jobs and barely have time to watch the news, but she knew enough about New York to recognize that name. The Caruso family, one of the most powerful organized crime families in the city. Legitimate businesses mixed with illegal operations, connections that reached into politics, unions, construction, waste management, everything that made the city function. "You are Mafia," Maya said flatly. "That is a reductive term, but essentially accurate," Dante said. "Which means the people who shot me will be looking for me. Which means you are in danger for helping me. Which means I owe you a debt I take very seriously. I do not want anything from you," Maya said quickly. "Just do not die in my car and we will call it even." "It does not work that way," Dante said. "You saved my life. In my world, that creates an obligation, a bond. You are under my protection now, whether you want it or not." "I definitely do not want it," Maya said. "I want to drop you off at the hospital, forget this ever happened, and go back to my very boring, very safe life." "Too late for that," Dante said. "The moment you chose to help me, you chose to be part of my world. But I promise you, Maya Thompson, I protect what is mine, and you just became mine to protect." The possessiveness in his voice should have terrified Maya, should have made her pull over and demand he get out despite the blood and the danger. But instead, she felt something shift in her chest, something that felt dangerously close to safety. They arrived at Mount Sinai 15 minutes later. Maya pulled up to the emergency entrance, but before she could put the car in park, 3 black SUVs surrounded them. Men in expensive suits emerged, moving with military precision, 2 of them opening Dante's door and helping him out with careful efficiency. One man, older with silver hair and an air of authority, approached Maya's window. She rolled it down, her heart pounding. "Miss Thompson," the man said, his accent similar to Dante's. "I am Carlo, Mr. Caruso's head of security. You did well bringing him here. We are grateful." "Is he going to be okay?" Maya asked, surprising herself with how much she cared about the answer. "He will be fine," Carlo said. "The bullet went through clean. No major organs hit. He has survived worse." He handed Maya an envelope through the window. "For your trouble, and for the damage to your vehicle." Maya opened the envelope to find a stack of $100 bills that had to total at least $5,000. "This is too much," she said. "Way too much." "Mr. Caruso does not believe in small gestures," Carlo said. "He also asked me to give you this." He handed her a business card with nothing but a phone number embossed on expensive cardstock. "If you need anything, ever, you call that number. Someone will answer immediately. You have Mr. Caruso's personal protection now. That is not something we offer lightly." "I do not need protection," Maya said. "You do now," Carlo said simply. "The people who shot Mr. Caruso have eyes everywhere. They may have seen you help him. They may decide you are a liability they need to eliminate. But they also know that Mr. Caruso protects his people absolutely. So carrying that card, accepting that protection, might just save your life." Before Maya could respond, Carlo stepped back, and the SUVs pulled away, taking Dante and his security detail into the hospital through a private entrance that suggested they had done this before. Maya sat in her car outside Mount Sinai, staring at the envelope of cash and the business card, processing what had just happened. In the span of 20 minutes, she had picked up a bleeding Mafia boss, driven him to safety, and apparently become someone under his protection. Her boring, safe life had just been blown apart by a single decision to help a stranger. She should have been terrified, should have been planning to throw away the card and the money and pretend this never happened. But instead, Maya found herself tucking the card carefully into her wallet and driving home, thinking about dark eyes and an Italian accent, and the way Dante Caruso had looked at her like she was something precious he intended to keep safe. The next 3 days passed without incident. Maya worked her shifts at the library, drove Uber at night, visited her mother at the assisted living facility where she was receiving care between treatments. She told no one about what had happened, treating it like a strange dream that would fade if she did not acknowledge it. But the business card stayed in her wallet. And Maya found herself thinking about Dante Caruso more than she wanted to admit, wondering if he had survived surgery okay, wondering if he meant what he said about protection, wondering if she would ever see him again. The answer came on Friday evening. Maya was just finishing her shift at the library, gathering her things from the circulation desk, when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello?" Maya answered cautiously. "Miss Thompson," a familiar accented voice said. "This is Dante Caruso." Maya's heart jumped. Mr. Caruso, you are alive. Very much so, thanks to you, Dante said. I am calling because I need to speak with you. About your safety and about repaying the debt I owe you. You already paid me, Maya said. Very generously. We are even. Money is not how this debt gets repaid, Dante said. Please, have dinner with me tonight. Let me explain properly why your life has changed and what I can do to ensure you remain safe. I do not think that is a good idea, Maya said, even as part of her wanted to say yes immediately. I understand your hesitation, Dante said. But Maya, you saved my life. You made yourself visible to my enemies by doing so. At minimum, you deserve to understand what that means. And I would very much like the opportunity to thank you properly and ensure you are protected going forward. Maya thought about the money in her account that would cover 2 months of her mother's medication. Thought about the danger Carlo had warned about. Thought about the way Dante's voice made something in her chest tighten with interest she should not be feeling. One dinner, she said. Somewhere public. And Mr. Caruso? I am not interested in getting involved with your world beyond this conversation. Understood, Dante said, though something in his tone suggested he disagreed with that assessment. I will send a car for you at 7, and Maya, call me Dante. We are past formalities after you have seen me bleeding in your back seat. Despite herself, Maya smiled. Fine, Dante, 7 o'clock. But I am driving myself. Text me the address. As you wish, Dante said. Though you should know my driver would be much safer than driving yourself. But I respect your independence. For now. Maya hung up and immediately wondered what she had just agreed to. Dinner with a Mafia boss. A man who had been shot 3 days ago and was apparently recovered enough to arrange elaborate meetings. A man whose voice made her pulse race and whose promise of protection felt both terrifying and thrilling. This was a terrible idea. She should cancel. Should throw away his number and hide from whatever complications he represented. But Maya had spent the last 2 years playing it safe, working herself to exhaustion, having no life beyond jobs and medical bills. And maybe, just maybe, she was tired of always making the careful choice. Maybe she wanted to see where this dangerous attention might lead. At 6:45, Maya stood in front of her closet trying to decide what one wore to dinner with a Mafia boss. She settled on a navy dress that was professional but flattering, did her makeup carefully, left her natural curls loose instead of pulling them back. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman looking back. When was the last time she had dressed up for anything that was not a job interview? The restaurant Dante had texted her was in Tribeca, upscale but not ostentatious. Maya arrived at 7 exactly, her stomach full of butterflies, and gave her name to the host. He immediately led her past the main dining room to a private space in the back. Dante was waiting at a table set for 2, standing when she entered. He wore a perfectly tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than Maya made in 6 months, and he looked healthy, powerful, completely unlike the bleeding man who had stumbled into her car 3 days ago. Only a careful observer would notice the slight stiffness in his movements that suggested healing injuries. Maya, Dante said, his eyes moving over her with obvious appreciation. You look beautiful. Thank you, Maya said, suddenly nervous. You look significantly less bloody than last time I saw you. Dante smiled, a real smile that transformed his face from intimidating to genuinely attractive. An improvement, yes? Please, sit. They sat, and immediately a waiter appeared with wine that Dante must have ordered ahead of time. Expensive Italian red that tasted like silk and probably cost more per bottle than Maya spent on groceries in a month. Tell me about yourself, Dante said after they had ordered food. Beyond the fact that you drive Uber at night and work at a library during the day, that is an exhausting schedule. How do you know where I work during the day? Maya asked, though she was not really surprised. I research people who save my life, Dante said unapologetically. I know you are 29. You graduated from Columbia with a degree in library science. You rent an apartment in Astoria, and your mother is in treatment for stage 3 breast cancer at Sloan Kettering. The medical bills are why you work 2 jobs. I also know you have no social media presence, no significant relationships, and you volunteer at a youth literacy program when you have time, which is almost never. That is invasive, Maya said. It is protective, Dante corrected. I need to understand who you are to properly ensure your safety. And Maya, I am very good at protecting people I care about. You do not know me well enough to care about me, Maya said. Dante leaned forward, his dark eyes intense. You risked yourself to help a bleeding stranger. You stayed calm under pressure. You showed courage and compassion when most people would have driven away. I know enough. You said I am in danger, Maya said, changing the subject before she could get lost in how Dante was looking at her. Explain that. Dante sat back, his expression becoming more serious. The people who shot me are part of a coalition of rival organizations that want to take over my territory. They have been making moves for months, testing my defenses, looking for weaknesses. Last Tuesday was their most direct attempt yet. And I became a weakness by helping you, Maya said. You became visible, Dante corrected. They may have seen you, may have your license plate number, may decide you are someone close to me who could be used as leverage, or they may just want to eliminate anyone who helped me survive. Either way, you are potentially at risk. So what do you suggest? Maya asked. I stop living my life? Hide? That is not practical. No, Dante said. I suggest you accept my protection. Let me assign security to watch over you. Let me ensure that anyone who might threaten you knows doing so would be a fatal mistake. And Maya, I suggest you stop working 2 jobs that are destroying you, and let me provide for you properly. I do not need providing for, Maya said immediately. I can take care of myself. Can you? Dante asked gently. You are exhausted. You work 15-hour days. You are worried sick about your mother. You have no life beyond work and stress. Let me help. Let me take care of the medical bills. Let me give you time to breathe. In exchange for what? Maya asked suspiciously. Because men like you do not offer help without expecting something in return. Dante smiled. But there was something dark in it. Something possessive. In exchange for your time, your company, the opportunity to know you better. And yes, eventually, if I have my way, much more than that. I am not sleeping with you in exchange for money, Maya said bluntly. I am not asking you to, Dante said. Though to be clear, when we do sleep together, and we will, it will be because you want me as much as I want you. Not because of money or obligation, but because the chemistry between us is undeniable. You are very confident, Maya said. I am very observant, Dante corrected. I see the way you look at me. I see the way your pulse jumps when I lean close. I see the interest you are trying to hide behind practicality. And Maya, I want you. I have wanted you since I regained consciousness after surgery and asked Carlo about the beautiful woman who saved me. But I am a patient man. I can wait for you to admit you want me too. The food arrived, giving Maya a moment to compose herself. Dante was right, damn him. She was attracted. She had been since he first got into her car, bloody and commanding and somehow magnetic despite the injury. But attraction to a Mafia boss was a terrible idea, a complication she absolutely did not need. Let me propose something, Dante said as they ate. Let me pay off your mother's medical bills. No strings attached. Consider it repaying the life debt I owe you. In exchange, you stop driving Uber at night. It is dangerous work, and you are putting yourself at risk every time you pick up a stranger. That is too much, Maya protested. It is nothing to me, Dante said simply. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Letting it sit in accounts earning interest while you destroy yourself with work is wasteful. Let me use my resources to make your life easier. Please. And what happens after that? Maya asked. After you pay the bills and I quit driving? Do we just never see each other again? No, Dante said, his eyes never leaving hers. After that, you let me take you to dinner again. And again. You let me spend time with you. You give me the opportunity to prove that I am someone worth knowing, despite my dangerous world. You give us a chance to see where this connection leads. I should say no, Maya said softly. I should walk away from this right now before it gets complicated. But you are not going to, Dante observed. Because you are tired of playing it safe. Because you feel what I feel. Because some part of you wants to see where this goes despite all the logical reasons to run. He was right again. Maya was tired of safe. Tired of endless work with no joy. Tired of being alone. And Dante offered something dangerous and thrilling and intensely appealing. One condition, Maya said. You are completely honest with me. About your world, your business, the dangers. No lies, no manipulation. If I am going to consider this, whatever this is, I need total honesty. Agreed, Dante said immediately. Complete honesty. I will tell you everything, even the parts that might scare you. And Maya, in return, I ask for your honesty too. Tell me what you think, what you feel, what you need. Be real with me. They spent the next 3 hours talking. Dante shared stories about growing up in an Italian crime family, about inheriting leadership at 28 when his father was killed, about trying to transition toward more legitimate businesses while managing the violence that came with his world. He did not romanticize it or pretend it was anything other than dangerous and morally complicated. And Maya shared her own stories, about her mother's diagnosis 2 years ago, about dropping out of graduate school to help with care and costs, about the loneliness of having no time for relationships or friendships, about feeling like she was just surviving instead of living. When the restaurant began closing, neither of them wanted to leave. They stood outside on the sidewalk, November air cold around them, neither quite ready to say goodnight. "I meant what I said," Dante told her, standing close enough that Maya could smell his cologne. "About protection, about helping with your mother's care, about wanting to spend time with you. I do not make offers I do not intend to keep." "I know," Maya said, which is terrifying and exciting at the same time. "Let me drive you home," Dante said. "My car is here." "I drove myself," Maya reminded him. "Then let me follow you home," Dante said. "Ensure you arrive safely. Humor my protective instincts." Maya smiled despite herself. "Fine. But Dante, this does not mean I am agreeing to everything, just to seeing where this goes." "Slowly. Slowly is acceptable," Dante said, though his expression suggested he hoped slowly would not be very slow at all, as long as you are moving toward me and not away. He walked Maya to her car, waited while she got in, then followed her in a black Mercedes that probably cost more than her annual salary. When she parked outside her Astoria apartment building, Dante got out and walked her to her door. "Thank you for dinner," Maya said, "and for the honesty, and for not dying in my car 3 days ago." "Thank you for saving my life," Dante said, "for giving me the chance to know you. And Maya, be careful over the next few weeks. My security will be watching, but if anything feels wrong, if anyone approaches you strangely, call that number I gave you immediately." "I will," Maya promised. Dante reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and tucked a curl behind her ear. His touch was gentle, reverent, and Maya found herself leaning into it despite knowing she should not. "Good night, Maya," Dante said softly. "Dream of me." Then he was gone, back to his Mercedes and driving away, leaving Maya standing in the cold November night wondering what she had just started and where it would lead. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of changes that both thrilled and terrified Maya. True to his word, Dante paid off all her mother's outstanding medical bills, every single one. Maya came home one evening to find confirmation letters from every billing department showing 0 balances. When she called Dante to protest, to insist it was too much, he simply said, "Your mother gets to focus on healing instead of worrying about cost. You get to sleep without nightmares about debt. That is worth everything to me. Now stop arguing and let me take you to dinner tomorrow." Maya stopped driving Uber, started working only her library job, suddenly had evenings free for the first time in 2 years, and Dante filled those evenings with his presence. They had dinner 3 times in those 2 weeks, long conversations that stretched late into the night. Dante told her about his organization, about the legitimate businesses and the illegal ones, about the violence he had authorized and the protection he offered. He did not hide who he was or what his world entailed. And Maya told him about her dreams of going back to graduate school, of maybe teaching someday, of wanting a life that was more than just survival. She talked about her mother, about the fear of losing her, about the guilt of having any happiness when her mother was fighting for her life. Dante listened to all of it with focus that made Maya feel truly seen for the first time in years. Between dinners, Dante sent flowers to the library where Maya worked, expensive arrangements that made her coworkers whisper and speculate. He sent books he thought she would enjoy, first editions of classics she loved. He had her car detailed and serviced properly, small gestures that showed he was thinking about her constantly. And Maya found herself thinking about him just as constantly, about his intensity, his intelligence, the way he looked at her like she was precious, about the danger he represented and the safety she felt in his presence. The first major complication came 2 weeks after their initial dinner. Maya was leaving the library on a Wednesday evening when a man approached her on the street. Mid-30s, expensive suit, cold eyes that made her immediately uncomfortable. "Miss Thompson," the man said, "I need a moment of your time." "I do not think so," Maya said, trying to walk past him toward her car. The man blocked her path. "It is about Dante Caruso, about the mistake you made getting involved with him." Maya's hand moved to her purse, where she kept the card Dante had given her. She pulled out her phone, keeping the man in sight. "I have nothing to say to you. Leave me alone or I am calling the police." "The police cannot help you," the man said. "But I can. You see, Mr. Caruso's enemies are wondering how valuable you are to him, whether hurting you would hurt him, whether you are someone he truly cares about, or just a temporary distraction. I am here to find out." Before Maya could respond, a black SUV pulled up to the curb, and Carlo emerged with 2 other men. The threatening stranger took one look at them and immediately backed away, disappearing into the crowd on the street. "Miss Thompson," Carlo said, his expression concerned. "Did he threaten you?" "He implied he might," Maya said, her hands shaking with adrenaline. "Who was he?" Someone who just made a terminal mistake, Carlo said grimly. Mr. Caruso will want to know about this immediately. Please, let Marco drive you home. I need to report this and ensure your building is secure. Maya wanted to protest, to insist she could take care of herself. But the fear was real. The danger was real. And maybe, just maybe, accepting Dante's protection was not weakness but wisdom. When Maya got home an hour later, Dante was waiting outside her building. He looked furious, his expression dark with barely controlled rage. But when he saw Maya, the anger softened into concern. "Are you all right?" he asked, pulling her close immediately. "Carlo told me what happened." "Maya, I am so sorry. This should never have reached you. It is not your fault," Maya said, though part of her wondered if that was true. "This is the danger you warned me about." "Yes," Dante said, "which is why I need to increase your security significantly, and why I need to have a very pointed conversation with the people who sent that man to threaten you." "What kind of conversation?" Maya asked, already knowing the answer. "The kind that ends with them understanding that touching you is the last mistake they will ever make," Dante said. "Maya, I promise to protect you. That means removing threats, permanently if necessary. People might die because of me," Maya said quietly. "People will die because they threatened someone under my protection," Dante corrected firmly. "That is their choice, not yours. You did nothing wrong except show compassion to a stranger. Everything that happens to them is consequence of their own actions." "I do not know if I can accept that," Maya said. "I know," Dante said gently. "And I am not asking you to accept it or approve it. Just to understand that it is reality, that my world has rules and consequences that are not negotiable. And Maya, I need you to trust that I will keep you safe, no matter what it costs." They stood on the street outside Maya's building, the November cold biting but neither wanting to move away from the other's warmth. "I am scared," Maya admitted. "Of your world, of this situation, of how much I already care about you after just 2 weeks. I am scared too," Dante said. "Of losing you, of having you see the worst parts of my world and deciding I am not worth the complications. But Maya, I am also certain that meeting you was fate, that saving my life and letting me into yours was meant to happen, that whatever we build together will be worth every danger and difficulty." He kissed her then, gentle but intense, a claiming and a promise all at once. Maya kissed him back, feeling the last of her resistance crumble. She was falling for this dangerous man, had already fallen, and there was no going back. "Now, come upstairs," Maya whispered against his lips. "Stay with me tonight. I do not want to be alone." "Are you certain?" Dante asked, pulling back to look at her seriously. "Because once I cross that threshold, once we take this step, I will not be able to let you go. You will be mine, Maya, completely. Then I will be yours," Maya said. "Because I am tired of being afraid, tired of playing it safe. I want this. I want you." Dante's eyes darkened with desire and possession. He took her hand and let her lead him upstairs to her small apartment. The space was modest compared to what Dante was used to, Maya's one bedroom with its thrift store furniture and library book stacks. But he looked around like it was precious simply because it was hers. "Show me your world," Dante said softly, "before I make you part of mine completely." Maya gave him a tour of her tiny space. The kitchen where she meal prepped on Sundays to save money, the living room where she studied late at night, the photographs of her mother on every surface, documenting better times before the cancer. Her bedroom with its simple bed and the stack of books on the nightstand that she read to escape reality. "This is who I am," Maya said. "Someone ordinary living an ordinary life." "Are you certain you want this? Want me?" Dante pulled her close, his hands framing her face with a gentleness that contradicted his dangerous reputation. "Maya, there is nothing ordinary about you. You work 2 jobs to save your mother. You help strangers even when it puts you at risk. You face my world without flinching. You are extraordinary. And yes, I want you. More than I have ever wanted anything." When he kissed her this time, it was different. Not gentle or exploratory, but claiming. Possessive. A kiss that said mine, and meant it. Maya melted into him, all her reservations burning away under the intensity of his desire. Dante lifted her easily, carried her to the bedroom, laid her on the bed with reverence that made her feel like something precious. Then he simply looked at her for a long moment, his dark eyes traveling over her face, her body, taking in every detail. "I am memorizing this," he said. "The moment before everything changes. Before you become mine irrevocably. I am already yours," Maya said. "I have been since you got in my car bleeding and looked at me like I was salvation." Dante undressed her slowly, reverently, treating each piece of clothing like unwrapping a gift. He kissed every inch of skin he revealed, murmured words in Italian that Maya did not understand but that sounded like worship. His hands were gentle but sure, learning her body's responses, discovering what made her gasp and arch into his touch. When Maya reached for his shirt, Dante caught her hands. "Wait," he said. "Let me. I want to show you everything before you see this." He undressed himself, revealing a body that was all muscle and power. Scars that told stories of a violent life. The fresh surgical scar from the gunshot. Wound was still pink and healing, a reminder of how close she had come to losing him before she even knew him. Maya reached out and traced the scar gently. "Does it hurt?" "Not anymore," Dante said. "Not when you touch me." They came together with an intensity that stole Maya's breath. Dante was passionate but surprisingly tender, taking his time despite the obvious urgency of his desire. He paid attention to every sound she made, every movement, learning what brought her pleasure and focusing on those things with single-minded dedication. "Look at me," Dante commanded as they moved together. "I want to see your eyes when you come apart from me." Maya met his gaze, and the intensity there, the raw emotion mixed with desire, pushed her over the edge into pleasure so intense it felt almost spiritual. Dante followed seconds later, her name on his lips like a prayer, and they clung to each other as waves of sensation washed over them both. Afterward, lying tangled together in Maya's bed, their day, heartbeats slowly returning to normal, Dante traced patterns on her bare shoulder with calloused fingers. "I have never felt this before," he admitted. "This certainty, this need to protect and possess and cherish all at once." "What does that mean?" Maya asked, though she thought she knew. "It means you are mine now," Dante said. "In every way that matters. And I am yours. Which means I will burn down anyone who threatens you. Which means my life is dedicated to keeping you safe and happy. Which means I love you, Maya Thompson, even though it has only been 2 weeks and it is completely insane." "I love you too," Maya whispered, which is terrifying and perfect at the same time. Dante pulled her closer, tucking her against his chest where she could hear his heartbeat. "Sleep, Bella. I will watch over you. You are safe now." For the first time in years, Maya slept deeply, dreamlessly, feeling protected in a way she had forgotten was possible. The next morning, Maya woke to sunlight streaming through her bedroom window and the smell of coffee. She found Dante in her kitchen, wearing just his dress pants from the night before, his torso bare and displaying all those scars and muscles, making coffee like he had done it 1,000 times in her space. "Good morning," he said, handing her a cup prepared exactly how she liked it, which meant he had been paying attention during their dinners. "How did you sleep?" "Better than I have in years," Maya admitted. "You?" "I did not sleep much," Dante said. "I spent most of the night watching you and thinking about how thoroughly my life has changed in 2 weeks." "Changed how?" Maya asked, wrapping her hands around the warm coffee cup. "I was content before you," Dante said. "Focused on business, on protecting my organization, on maintaining control. I had relationships, but nothing real. Nothing that mattered beyond temporary satisfaction. Then you picked me up, bleeding, and everything shifted. Now I cannot imagine going back to that cold existence. Now I need you like I need air." The intensity should have scared Maya, should have made her pull back and insist they slow down. But instead, it resonated with something deep inside her, something that recognized Dante as essential. "What happens now?" Maya asked. "After last night. After this. Now I move you somewhere safer," Dante said. "This building has inadequate security, too many access points. I cannot protect you properly here." "I cannot afford anything better," Maya said. "I can," Dante said simply. "I own a building in Brooklyn. Brownstones with excellent security. I want you there. I will cover all costs. Consider it part of protecting what is mine." "I am not a possession," Maya said, though without real heat. "No," Dante agreed. "You are my heart walking around outside my body, which makes protecting you more important than anything else in my life. Please, Maya, let me do this. Let me keep you safe." They spent the morning talking about logistics, about how, dramatically, Maya's life was about to change. By afternoon, Dante had arranged movers, security assessments, everything necessary to relocate Maya to a beautiful brownstone apartment that was more space than she had ever lived in alone. Over the following weeks, Maya adjusted to her new life. No more Uber driving, more time for her library job, which she loved, more time to visit her mother, who was responding well to treatment, and kept asking when Maya was going to bring Dante for a proper introduction, and more time with Dante himself. He was attentive without being suffocating, protective without being controlling. He included Maya in his life, introducing her to his family and the key members of his organization. Maya met Dante's mother Isabella on a Sunday afternoon at the Caruso family home in Staten Island. The house was impressive but warm, filled with family photos and the smell of cooking that reminded Maya of her own grandmother's kitchen. Isabella Caruso was elegant and sharp-eyed, assessing Maya with a look that probably intimidated most people. But Maya had faced down drunk library patrons and her mother's cancer diagnosis. She was not easily intimidated. "So you are the woman who saved my son," Isabella said in accented English. "The one who drove him bleeding to safety without calling the police or asking questions." "I am," Maya confirmed, "though I did ask some questions." Isabella smiled. "Good. Only a fool would not ask questions. Sit, child. Let us talk while Dante pretends he is not listening from the other room." They talked for hours. Isabella told stories about raising Dante, about the violence that had taken her husband, about trying to instill values in children growing up in a world where violence was normalized. She spoke honestly about the family business, about the moral compromises and the code of honor that governed their world. "My son has had many women," Isabella said bluntly. "Beautiful women, sophisticated women, women who wanted the power and money that comes with his position. But he never looked at any of them the way he looks at you. Like you are the answer to a question he did not know he was asking." "I love him," Maya said simply, "despite knowing I probably should not. Despite all the logical reasons this is a terrible idea." "Love does not care about logic," Isabella said. "And Maya, my son needs someone who sees him, really sees him. Not just the power or the danger, but the man trying to be better than his world requires. I think you see him. That is worth more than safety or logic." When they left that evening, Dante pulled Maya close in the car. "My mother likes you," he said. "That is rare. She usually terrorizes women I bring home." "Maybe I am harder to terrorize than most," Maya suggested. "You are," Dante agreed. "You faced down a bleeding Mafia boss without flinching. My mother never stood a chance." The first major test of their relationship came a month into their new arrangement. Maya was working late at the library, cataloging a new shipment of books, when 3 men entered just before closing. They were not there for books. "Maya Thompson?" one of them asked, approaching her desk. "We need to talk about Dante Caruso." Maya's hand immediately went to the panic button Dante had insisted be installed at her workstation. "I have nothing to say to you. Leave the library now or I am calling security." "We are not here to hurt you," the man said, though his companions looked like they hurt people professionally. "We are here to offer you a deal. Walk away from Caruso. Disappear. We will give you $200,000 and a new identity. Just leave and never contact him again." "Why?" Maya asked, her finger hovering over the panic button. "Because you are a weakness," the man said. "A liability he cannot afford. And because if you stay with him, you will end up dead when his enemies come for him. We are offering you an out, a chance to live." "I am not interested," Maya said, firmly. "And you have 3 seconds to leave before I press this button and Dante's security tears you apart." The men looked at each other, then back at Maya. "You are making a mistake," one said. "Caruso's world is violence and death. You do not belong there." "That is my choice to make," Maya said, "not yours. Now leave." They left, but not before the leader dropped a business card on Maya's desk. "When you realize we are right, when you decide you want to live, call that number. The offer stands." Maya waited until they were gone, then pressed the panic button anyway. Within minutes, Carlo and his team arrived, followed closely by Dante himself, who looked more worried than Maya had ever seen him. "Are you hurt?" Dante asked immediately, his hands running over her arms and face like he needed physical confirmation she was unharmed. "I am fine," Maya said, "just shaken. They offered me money to leave you. $200,000 and a new identity." Dante's expression went cold. "Dangerous. Who sent them?" "They did not say," Maya said, "but Dante, they were right about one thing. Your world is dangerous. Being with you puts me at risk constantly. Maybe I should be scared. Maybe I should take their money and run. Do you want to?" Dante asked quietly. "Because Maya, I will not hold you here against your will. If you want out, if this is too much, I will let you go. I will hate it, and I will spend the rest of my life making sure you are protected even from a distance, but I will not trap you." Maya looked at this dangerous, complicated man who had transformed her life completely, thought about the safety and boredom of her old existence versus the danger and excitement of her new one, thought about loving someone who operated by rules most people never saw versus the loneliness of safety. "No," she said. "I do not want out. I want you. I want this life. I want to stop hiding from the complications and embrace them. Because Dante, you are worth the risk." Dante pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly she could barely breathe. "Ti amo," he whispered. "Ti amo, Maya. More than I thought possible to love anyone." "I love you too," Maya said. "Now tell me what you are going to do about the men who threatened me." Dante's expression became predatory. I am going to make very clear that threatening you is a terminal mistake. And Maya, I am going to end the threat permanently. Do you understand what that means? People will die, Maya said. People who threaten someone I love, Dante corrected. People who tried to use fear to control you. Yes, they will face consequences, and I will not apologize for that or pretend it is anything other than what it is. I protect what is mine, always. Maya knew she should be horrified, should object to the violence. But instead, she found herself accepting it as the price of loving someone in Dante's world. Some lines could not be uncrossed once you chose to step over them. The threat was eliminated within 48 hours. Maya did not ask for details. Dante did not offer them. But she knew from the way Carlo looked at her, from the deference she received from Dante's organization, that something significant had happened, that lines had been drawn in blood to protect her. The reality of what that meant hit Maya a few days later. She was having coffee with her mother at the assisted living facility, discussing wedding plans that felt both exciting and surreal, when her mother asked the question Maya had been avoiding. Maya, sweetheart, do you really understand what you are signing up for? Her mother asked gently. This man, Dante, he is part of a violent world. People have died because of you, because he chose to protect you. I know, Maya said quietly, and I struggle with that, with knowing that my choice to help him has consequences for other people. But you do not regret it, her mother observed. You do not regret him. No, Maya admitted. I do not, and I do not know if that makes me a bad person or just a realistic one. Mama, I love him, completely, in ways I did not think were possible. And yes, his world is violent, but he is trying to change it, trying to build something better. And I think maybe I can help him do that. Her mother reached across the table and took Maya's hand. Then you love him with your eyes open. That is all anyone can ask. But Maya, promise me something. Promise that if this becomes more than you can handle, if the violence or the danger becomes unbearable, you will leave. Do not sacrifice yourself trying to change someone or save them from their own world. I promise, Maya said. But Mama, I do not think it will come to that. Dante protects me, not just physically but emotionally. He makes sure I understand what I am accepting before I accept it. That is more honesty than most relationships have. Then you have chosen well, her mother said. Now tell me about this wedding you are planning. I want all the details. 2 months after their engagement, Dante took Maya deeper into his world. He wanted her to truly understand what she was marrying into, what the Caruso name meant in New York's criminal landscape. He took her to his office, not the legitimate corporate headquarters but the real center of his operations. A warehouse in Brooklyn that had been transformed into a command center for his organization. Maps on walls showing territories. Financial reports detailing businesses both legal and illegal. Security footage from dozens of locations. This is what I do, Dante said, showing Maya everything. We control construction, waste management, shipping. Some of it is completely legitimate. Some operates in gray areas. And yes, some of it is explicitly criminal. I am working to phase out the illegal operations. But it is slow. There are too many people depending on those income streams. Too many families I cannot just cut off. How do you live with it? Maya asked. The moral compromises? By trying to do more good than harm, Dante said. By using the power and money to actually help communities instead of just extracting from them. By protecting people who need protection. By trying to be honorable within a dishonorable system. And Maya, by having someone like you who reminds me what I am working toward, who makes me want to be better. Maya spent hours that day learning about Dante's world, meeting his key lieutenants, the men and women who ran various aspects of the organization. They treated her with respect that felt genuine, not just deference to Dante's position. One woman, Gianna, who ran the legitimate shipping operations, pulled Maya aside. You are good for him, Gianna said. Since you came into his life, Dante has been different. More focused on building than destroying, more interested in legacy than power. That is what he needed, what all of us needed. What do you mean? Maya asked. We have been waiting for someone to give him a reason to change, Gianna explained. Someone he cared about, enough to want to build something better for. His mother tries, but he is too used to disappointing her. But you, he does not want to disappoint you. That makes him careful, thoughtful, better. That evening, back at the brownstone, Dante cooked dinner while Maya processed everything she had seen. She had known intellectually that Dante was a mafia boss, but seeing the scale of his operation, understanding the complexity of his responsibilities, made it real in ways that scared her. Talk to me, Dante said, reading her expression. Tell me what you are thinking. I am thinking about the enormity of what you control, Maya said. About how many lives depend on your decisions. about the responsibility you carry every day. Does it frighten you? Dante asked. Yes, Maya admitted, but not in the way you might think. I am not scared of you or the violence. I am scared of failing you, of not being strong enough to be your partner in this world, of not understanding enough to help you navigate the impossible choices. Dante set down the knife he had been using to chop vegetables and came to Maya, pulling her close. You do not need to understand everything. You just need to be you, to remind me why I am trying to change, to give me something pure and good to protect and cherish, to love me despite everything. That is enough, Maya. You are enough. But what if I am not? Maya asked. What if the violence gets worse? What if your enemies come after me again? What if I cannot handle it? Then we will handle it together, Dante said firmly. But Maya, I do not think you are giving yourself enough credit. You have handled everything so far. Every threat, every complication, you have faced with courage. You are stronger than you think. The next test came a month before the wedding. Maya was teaching an evening class at Columbia when she noticed a man in the back of the lecture hall who was not enrolled in the course. He was just watching her, his presence making her uncomfortable. After class, as she was packing up her materials, the man approached. Professor Thompson, he said. Or should I say, soon to be Mrs. Caruso. Who are you? Maya asked, her hand moving to her phone where Dante's number was on speed dial. Someone who wants to give you information about the man you are planning to marry, the man said. Information you deserve to have before you commit your life to him. I know who Dante is, Maya said. I know about his world. Do you know about the people he has killed? The man asked. Not ordered killed, but killed personally? Do you know about the businesses he destroyed? The families he ruined? Do you know the real body count attached to the Caruso name? Maya should have been shocked, should have demanded answers, but instead, she felt only anger. At this stranger trying to poison what she and Dante were building, at the manipulation disguised as concern. Get out, Maya said coldly. Get out of my classroom before I have security remove you. You are making a mistake, the man said. Dante Caruso is a monster dressed up in expensive suits. One day you will see that. One day you will regret not listening to me. The only mistake I am making is wasting time talking to you, Maya said. Now leave. This is your final warning. The man left, but not before dropping a folder on Maya's desk. When you are ready for the truth, he said, read this. It is all documented. Every death, every crime, every reason you should run. Maya waited until he was gone, then opened the folder with shaking hands. Inside were photographs, documents, news articles, evidence of violence and crime spanning decades. Some of it was Dante's father. Some was Dante himself. Bodies, arrests, allegations that had never stuck, but that painted a picture of brutality that Maya had intellectually understood but not viscerally confronted. She called Dante immediately. Someone approached me after class, she said. Gave me a folder about your past. About things you have done. Dante, I need you to tell me the truth about all of this. Where are you? Dante asked, his voice tight. Still at Columbia, Maya said. Stay there. I am sending Carlo to bring you home. We will talk about this properly. With honesty, all of it. An hour later, Maya sat in Dante's study at the brownstone with the folder spread across his desk. Dante looked through it methodically, his expression unreadable. Most of this is true, he said finally. Some of it is exaggerated or misattributed to me when it was actually my father's work. But yes, Maya, I have done terrible things. I have killed people. I have destroyed businesses and families. I have made choices that will haunt me until I die. Tell me, Maya said. All of it. I need to hear it from you. For the next 3 hours, Dante told her everything. About his first kill at 21, defending his father during a power struggle. About the violence he had authorized and participated in to consolidate power after his father's death. About the businesses he had destroyed to eliminate competition. About the moral compromises he had made prioritizing loyalty over justice. He did not defend himself or try to justify, just laid out the truth of who he had been and what he had done. And Maya listened, processing the reality of loving someone with so much blood on his hands. When Dante finished, they sat in silence for long minutes. Then Maya spoke. I should be horrified, she said. I should be walking away right now. Every logical part of my brain is screaming at me to end this before I become complicit in the violence. But you are not walking away, Dante observed quietly. No, Maya said, because I am not naive enough to think the world is simple. Because I understand that you grew up in a world where violence was currency and power was survival. Because I see who you are trying to become, not just who you were. And because I love you enough to accept all of you, even the parts that scare me. You deserve better than me, Dante said. Someone clean, uncomplicated, maybe, Maya agreed. But I do not want better. I want you. I want us. I want the chance to build something good together despite the darkness in your past. Because Dante, everyone deserves the chance to change, to be more than their worst choices. And I think maybe that is why we found each other. So you could have someone who sees the potential in you, and I could have someone who makes me brave enough to live fully instead of just safely. Dante pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly Maya could barely breathe. I will spend my life being worthy of this, he promised. Worthy of your faith in me. I will build something you can be proud of. Something our children can inherit without shame. I know you will, Maya said. And I will be beside you, helping, supporting, reminding you why you are trying. That conversation marked a turning point. Maya stopped questioning whether she was making the right choice and fully committed to the life she was building with Dante. She integrated completely into his world, meeting more of his family, learning the dynamics of his organization, understanding her role as his partner and future wife. She also began suggesting changes, ways the Caruso organization could transition faster toward legitimate operations, community programs they could fund, partnerships with nonprofits that could help former members of the organization find legal employment. Dante listened to all of it, implementing most of her suggestions. And slowly, the Caruso name began to mean something different in New York. Not just power and fear, but also opportunity and support. 3 months before the wedding, Isabella invited Maya to a family Sunday dinner at the Staten Island house. It was tradition, apparently, the entire extended Caruso family gathering once a month for food and loud conversation, and the kind of warm chaos Maya had never experienced in her own small family. There were probably 40 people there. Dante's mother Isabella, his younger sister Francesca with her husband and 3 children, various uncles and aunts and cousins. And they welcomed Maya like she already belonged, pulling her into conversations and arguments, asking her opinion on family matters, treating her as one of them from the first moment. Francesca cornered Maya in the kitchen while they were helping prepare dessert. You know, my brother has never brought a woman to Sunday dinner before, she said. Never. Not in 15 years of doing this tradition. You are the first. Really? Maya asked, surprised. Why? Because he never cared enough about any of them to share this part of his life, Francesca explained. This is family. Real, messy, complicated family. Bringing you here means he is serious. Means he sees you as permanent. Means we are going to be sisters. She hugged Maya warmly. And I am so glad. Dante needs someone like you. Someone who is not intimidated by him. Someone who calls him on his nonsense. Someone who loves him for who he is, not what he controls. I do love him, Maya said. Completely. Good, Francesca said. Because if you hurt him, I will make you regret it. But since I do not think you are going to hurt him, we are going to be great friends. That evening, sitting at the massive dining table with the entire Caruso family, listening to loud arguments in Italian and English, watching Dante interact with his nieces and nephews with unexpected tenderness, Maya realized she had found more than just a husband. She had found a family, a community, a place where she belonged, despite coming from such a different world. 2 months before the wedding, Maya's mother took a turn for the worse. The cancer had metastasized despite treatment, and the doctors were running out of options. Maya was devastated, terrified of losing her mother before the wedding, before her mother could see her settled and happy. Dante handled it with quiet competence. He arranged for the best oncologists in the country to consult on the case. He moved Maya's mother to a private care facility where she would be comfortable and well treated. He made sure Maya had time to be with her mother without worrying about work or wedding planning. And on the nights when Maya broke down crying, overwhelmed by fear and grief, Dante held her and let her fall apart without trying to fix it or minimize it, just offering presence and support and love. Your mother will see you married, Dante promised. I will make sure of it. Even if we have to bring the wedding to her bedside, she will see you become a Caruso. The treatment worked, miraculously. A new clinical trial that Dante's money and connections had gotten her mother access to. The cancer responded. By the time of the wedding, Maya's mother was weak but stable, able to walk Maya down the aisle and participate fully in the ceremony. You saved her, Maya told Dante the night before the wedding. You gave me more time with my mother. Gave her the chance to see me happy. That is a gift I can never repay. You already repaid it, Dante said, by choosing me, by staying when you could have run, by loving me despite everything. That is more than I deserve, Maya. More than I ever hoped for. The night before their wedding, Dante had one more tradition to honor. He took Maya to the church where they would marry tomorrow, the two of them alone in the candlelit space, and he told her about his father. My father was killed when I was 21, Dante said, standing before the altar where they would exchange vows, ambushed by rivals who wanted our territory. He died protecting me, covering my escape while his men held off the attackers. His last words to me were, "Take care of the family, be better than I was, build something that lasts." "And have you?" Maya asked gently. "Been better than he was?" "I am trying," Dante said. "I inherited his organization, his obligations, his enemies, but I am trying to transform it into something he would be proud of. Something that honors his memory without perpetuating the violence that killed him." "He would be proud of you," Maya said. "Of the man you have become, of the changes you are making." "I hope so," Dante said. "And tomorrow, when I promise to love and cherish you for the rest of my life, I will also be promising to him that I will protect what matters, that I will build a family and a legacy worth having, that I will be the man you believe I can be." "You already are that man," Maya said, taking his hands. "You have been since the night you got in my car, bleeding and still managed to think about my safety before your own." "Tomorrow," Dante said, his voice rough with emotion, "I give you everything I am, everything I have. My name, my protection, my heart, all of it is yours, Maya, forever. And you get all of me," Maya said. "My love, my trust, my partnership. We build this life together, Dante. We face everything together. No secrets, no holding back. Just us, choosing each other every day." They sealed the promise with a kiss in the empty church, and Maya felt the weight and joy of commitment settling over her like a blessing. Dante slipped the ring onto her finger, then made love to her again with a tenderness that felt sacred, like sealing a vow. They married 4 months later in a ceremony that blended both their worlds beautifully. The church in Little Italy, where generations of Carusos had been married. Maya's mother, miraculously in remission and looking beautiful and healthy, walking her down the aisle with tears of joy. Dante's entire family and organization filling the pews, dressed in expensive suits and designer dresses, treating the occasion with reverence that suggested this was not just a wedding but the coronation of their queen. Maya wore a dress that made her feel like royalty, ivory silk that hugged her curves, custom designed by someone Dante knew, with delicate beading that caught the light as she walked. Her natural hair was styled in an elegant updo that showed off the diamond earrings Dante had given her as a wedding gift. Dante waited at the altar in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, and when Maya appeared at the end of the aisle, his expression transformed. Wonder, possession, love, all combined into something so intense Maya felt it across the entire church. The ceremony was traditional Catholic, conducted by a priest who had known the Caruso family for decades. But when they exchanged vows, they added personal promises that made several guests tear up. "Maya," Dante said, his voice strong and clear, "you saved my life in more ways than one. You brought light into my darkness. You made me believe I could be more than what my world demanded. I promise to protect you always, to love you fiercely, to be worthy of the choice you made that November night. I promise to build a life with you that honors both where we came from and where we are going together." "Dante," Maya said, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face, "you showed me that safety and excitement are not opposites, that choosing danger for the right person is the bravest thing I could do. You gave me back the ability to dream, to live instead of just survive. I promise to stand beside you always, to love you despite the complications, to be your partner in building something beautiful out of our unlikely beginning." When the priest pronounced them husband and wife, Dante kissed Maya with a passion that was probably inappropriate for a church but felt absolutely right. "Mine," he whispered against her lips. "Finally, officially, irrevocably mine." "And you are mine," Maya whispered back. "My husband, my protector, my love." The reception was held at an exclusive venue in Manhattan that Dante had rented for the entire evening. There was traditional Italian food prepared by the best chefs in the city, wine imported directly from Sicily, music that ranged from classical to contemporary R&B that Maya loved. Maya danced with her mother, both of them crying happy tears. "I am so proud of you," her mother said. "You saved a man's life and found your soulmate. That takes courage I was not sure you had. You raised me to help people," Maya said. "Even dangerous people who bleed in my car." Her mother laughed. "I did not quite have that scenario in mind when I taught you about compassion. But Maya, I see how he looks at you. That man worships you. He will spend his life making sure you never regret choosing him." Dante danced with Isabella, who whispered something in Italian that made him laugh and pull Maya closer when she returned to his arms. "What did your mother say?" Maya asked. "That you are too good for me and I better not mess this up or she will haunt me from the grave," Dante translated, "and that I should get started on giving her grandchildren immediately because she is not getting any younger." "We could start practicing tonight," Maya suggested with a smile. "We will be practicing for the entire honeymoon," Dante promised, "starting the moment I get you alone." They honeymooned in Sicily, spending 2 weeks at a villa that had been in the Caruso family for generations. It was beautiful, perched on a cliff overlooking the Mediterranean, surrounded by lemon groves and olive trees that had been there for centuries. They spent their days exploring the island, eating incredible food, swimming in the sea, and their nights were dedicated to each other, making love with passion that only seemed to intensify now that they were officially married. One evening, sitting on the terrace watching the sunset over the water, Dante pulled Maya close. "I want to tell you something," he said. "Something I have never told anyone." "What?" Maya asked, sensing the seriousness in his tone. "When I got shot that night, when I was bleeding out in that alley waiting for the Uber I had called, I was thinking about death," Dante said. "Thinking about how this was probably it, how I would die alone in a dirty alley, having lived a life dedicated to power and control but never having really lived at all. Never having loved anyone, never having let anyone truly see me. But then you appeared," Dante continued. "This beautiful woman who looked at me with compassion instead of fear, who helped instead of running, who drove me to safety and then slipped away like an angel I had imagined. And I thought, if I survive this, I am going to find her. I am going to know her. I am going to love her properly." "You did survive," Maya said softly. "And you did find me. And we built this." "We built this," Dante agreed. "A life neither of us imagined was possible. And Maya, I want more. I want children. I want a family. I want little versions of you and me running around our brownstone. I want to teach them about honor and compassion and building something good out of difficult circumstances." "I want that too," Maya said. "I have wanted it since the night you proposed, since I realized that you were not just my partner but my family. Let us start trying. Let us build the future we both deserve." 9 months later, Maya went into labor on a snowy January evening. Dante was terrified in a way Maya had never seen him. This man who faced violence without flinching, reduced to nervousness by the prospect of childbirth. "She is going to be fine," Carlo assured him in the hospital waiting room. "Your wife is strong. She will handle this the way she handles everything, with courage and grace." 22 hours of labor later, Sofia Lucia Caruso entered the world at 6 pounds 8 ounces, with dark hair and olive skin and eyes that looked exactly like her father's. Maya held their daughter and watched Dante's face transform as he looked at his child for the first time. "She is perfect," Dante whispered, his finger tracing Sofia's tiny hand. "She is absolutely perfect. Like her mother." "She has your eyes," Maya said, "and probably your stubborn streak." "Good," Dante said. "She will need that to deal with me. And Maya, thank you. Thank you for this. For her. For giving me a family I never thought I deserved." "You deserve all of it," Maya said. "You have worked so hard to be worthy of good things. Now hold your daughter and realize how thoroughly she already owns your heart." Dante took Sofia carefully, cradling her against his chest with a gentleness that contradicted everything people thought about him. And Maya watched her dangerous, powerful husband transform into a father who would burn the world to protect their child. And she knew she had chosen perfectly. 2 years later, they had expanded their family with twin boys, Marco and Luca, who were absolute terrors from the moment they could crawl. The brownstone was full of noise and chaos and love in ways Dante had never imagined his life could be. Maya had completed her master's degree and was teaching part-time at the library school at Columbia, training the next generation of librarians. She volunteered regularly at the literacy program and had started a foundation with Dante that provided books and educational programs to underfunded schools. Dante had successfully transitioned most of his organization toward legitimate businesses. He still carried the reputation and power of the Caruso name, but the violence had decreased dramatically. He was building a legacy his children could be proud of, using the resources his family had accumulated to actually improve communities rather than just extract from them. And every evening, no matter how busy the day had been, Dante came home, helped with the children, had family dinners, told Maya every single day how grateful he was that she had chosen to help a bleeding stranger on a cold November night. 3 years after that first meeting, Maya stood in their backyard watching Dante teach Sofia how to kick a soccer ball while the twins toddled around causing supervised mayhem. Her mother was there, healthy and vibrant, playing with her grandchildren and laughing in ways Maya had not heard in years. This is everything, Maya thought. This life they had built from one moment of compassion. This family that existed because she had chosen to help instead of drive away. Dante caught her looking and smiled. That special smile he reserved only for her. Mouthed "I love you" across the yard. Maya mouthed it back, then went to join her family, thinking about fate and choice, and how one bleeding man had transformed everything. "You never regret it?" Dante asked her that evening after the children were asleep and they had a rare moment of quiet together. "Picking me up that night? Everything that came after?" "Never," Maya said. You are the best terrible decision I ever made. The most dangerous safe choice. The complication that made everything simple. I am going to spend the rest of my life worthy of that night, Dante promised. Worthy of your choice. Worthy of your love. You already are, Maya said. Every single day, you already are. They made love slowly, quietly, conscious of children who might wake up, but with passion undiminished by time or domesticity. And afterward, lying in each other's arms, they marveled at the life they had built from blood and uber, and one moment of choosing compassion over fear. That is the story of Maya Thompson Caruso and Dante Caruso. A story that began with blood and a late-night ride and a split-second decision to help. A story that proves compassion can change everything, that dangerous men can become devoted fathers, and that sometimes the person you save ends up saving you right back. Maya and Dante's love reminds us that life transforms in moments, that the choice to help a stranger can become the choice to build a family, and that sometimes the most dangerous decision is also the most right. It shows us that protection and partnership can coexist perfectly, that love transcends the worlds that should never touch, and that family can be built from the most unlikely beginnings. Their story teaches us that courage comes in unexpected forms, that saving a life can mean saving your own, and that one moment of compassion can ripple forward into generations of love and family and hope. If this incredible story of danger transformed into devotion, blood transformed into blessing, and one night transformed into forever moved you, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. We share new stories every week about real people who discovered that heroes wear unexpected faces, that one choice can transform everything, and that sometimes the most dangerous love is exactly what we need to become who we are meant to be. What did you think of Maya and Dante's story? Would you have helped the bleeding stranger at midnight? Or would you have protected yourself and driven away? Have you ever made a split-second decision that changed your entire life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing how these stories resonate with your own experiences of compassion, courage, and choosing love despite impossible odds. Remember, sometimes the person you save is the one who ends up saving you. Sometimes danger and safety are the same thing when you find the right person. Sometimes picking up a bleeding stranger at midnight is not the end of your safe life, but the beginning of your real one. And sometimes the most important decision you will ever make happens in the 3 seconds between seeing someone who needs help and choosing whether to stop. Thanks for listening, and we will see you in the next story.